Hello and welcome to the Gonzales Mitchell Show. I'm Clay Mitchell.
And I'm Patrick Gonzales.
And today, Patrick and I are going to discuss the Gonzales Poll Part 3, which has to do with the 6th Congressional District Race involving Republican Neil Parrott and the Democratic candidate April Delaney. Patrick, do you have any headlines or anything that you see in this? What's your takeaway from this poll?
Well, Clay, the ensuing 2 months are going to determine across the country who is going to control Congress next year. And the results of this poll show that Maryland's 6th Congressional District is going to play a critical role in that decision.
I see just from the raw numbers how true that is. I think this district is in play. I see 41% of the 6th Congressional District voters are backing Republican Neil Parrott. 39% are backing the Democratic candidate April Delaney, with 20% of voters still undecided. That is
Yeah.
that a running is that really
Uh,
sort of a running theme that you see everywhere, or is this an anomaly?
well, I mean, I'm not polling congressional districts everywhere, so I'm not sure. But the running theme that was consistent in the Senate poll we did and the presidential poll that we've talked about is they're both Delaney's pulling 73% of Dems, Parrott's getting 72% of Republicans. They're both running. I think Parrott's up a point or two, 34, 31, something like that among independents. But the interesting thing in this race, Clay, and what jumps out at me, because I'm always looking for that, what is that one edge? And they're both running. First of all, Congressional District 6 is truly competitive simply for this. About 42% of the voters, when all is said and done, are going to be Democrats. About 40% or so, 39, are going to be Republicans. So you don't get too many districts with that kind of party split. And
Right.
there they are running dead even as far as within their base. Delaney getting 73 of Dems, Parrott getting 72% of Republicans. But what really, one way you can look at this and say what's giving Parrott his edge is he's snatching 17% of Dems from her, while she's only grabbing 7% of Republicans from him. So that's just sort of an interesting. Typically, that doesn't matter when you have one party overwhelming the other with regard to, their relative standing in the overall, total electorate. But we got a dead even. Dude, this race. I mean, I guess there are some out there that are kind of on paper and based on the results of this poll by recurrent standing, more competitive than this one. But I'm telling you, this is some good stuff for Maryland.
Let's see. Looking through, digging into the data a bit more. The thing that was most striking to me, was the polling regarding name ID. I see the Republican Parrott has a do not recognize percentage of 34%. And to that's astonishing to me, given the district. He ran two times against David Trone for the congressional seat, and he was in the House of Delegates for 12 years. Am I misreading something with that?
No, you're not misreading it, but there are a couple of things here. And okay, first of all, when he ran against Trone, it was a different district. It's not the district it is today. Today, Montgomery County is about 30% of the district. Back then, it was about 50% of the district. So that's different. Neil Parrott's Senate district, maybe a fifth of this congressional district is contained within it. So that's part of it. But the other thing is, Clay, and I've been looking at this stuff for 40 years, and you and I kid all the time. Never underestimate voters' interests, but never underestimate their intelligence, but never overestimate their interests. Clay, people
Yes.
besides you and me have lives. Okay. They've got bills to pay. Not that we don't. They've got to get up and go to work. They're not junkies like we are. They don't follow this crap. You and I could name who the local council district in New Mexico's third councilmanic is. That's how pathetic we are. Most people
Right.
aren't junkies like that. So when I tell a client, and I have been for 40 years, a three or four term state senator, don't take offense. 20% still don't recognize you because that's just you've been in office for 131 years, but it's just the nature of the beast. Nothing personal. So when you're looking at name ID, what you want to see, what I want to see whenever I do a poll, very first thing, I want to see what are the negatives? What's the unfavorable? And I want to see it in relationship to the favorable. Don't recognize. Now, the fascinating thing, and you're right on, and today, in the 6th District of Maryland, Democratic nominee April Delaney is unknown to half the electorate. Unknown in the sense of, do you recognize the name of April Delaney? Oh, you don't. Now, she's getting 39%. And here's what happens, Clay, and it's not just going on. There's what's known as a reflexive party vote. When I ask a question, who are you going to vote for? I don't say who you're going to vote for Congress, April Delaney or Neil Parrott. I say, who are you going to vote for Congress? April Delaney, the Democrat, or Neil Parrott, the Republican. Why do I do that? Because a lot of people think that way. There is a reflexive vote out there. And to best replicate someone's voting tendency or what they are apt to do, you have to frame it that way. So April Delaney, among Democrats, now dig this, among Democrats, 58% that do not recognize her name are voting for her. Is that high? Yeah, that's probably a little high, but that's how partisan things are these days. I'm sure there's a fair amount of Republicans that don't recognize Parrott's name. Oh, I'm voting for Neil Parrott, the Republican. So that's just the nature of behavior with voters. Again, and it's not unique. That part's not unique to the 6th. What is unique to the 6th is just how much this is being driven, yes, by party, but by geography. Neil's district is out there in the Hagerstown area. So the district is comprised of 5 counties, and I break it up when I do my poll in 3 regions. One region is what I call the WAG region, which is Washington, Allegheny, and Garrett County, Western Maryland. Another region, which is about 30% of the electorate. Another region is Montgomery County, which is about 30% of the district, and Frederick County, which is about 40% of the district. So it is fascinating to see in this poll how April Delaney is demolishing, that's too strong a word. April Delaney is performing very well in Montgomery County. Neil Parrott is performing even better in Washington, Allegheny, and Garrett counties. And currently in Frederick County, April Delaney is ahead in the county, but overall she's behind. So what does that suggest? To me, it suggests, and I will shut up right after I make this statement. What to me it suggests, friend of mine, is that this race ultimately is going to be decided in Frederick County.
That sounds right. I will attribute the 20% undecided to those people who actually have lives, not like you and me. Because honest to goodness, I mean, it's vacation. It's August. The poll was taken, what, 3rd week of August, or so.
Or so, yeah.
The presidential debate's not till the 10th. And I agree with you. I don't think people are turned on to the campaign as of yet. There's a group of us that watched every minute of both conventions and the whole 9 yards. But I think the switch will click after the 10th. People start to pay attention.
Dude,
Go ahead.
I think you're right. Yeah, no, I think after the 10th episode, I think that's becoming a key critical benchmark point. And not just for the presidential race, but all the down ballots. So, because everything is kind of revolves around that. But, and you're right. I'm I'm undecided, but it's not because I have a life. It's because I have a couple screws loose. And every time I get them screws tightened, they loosen up again. So I'm not only undecided about this race, I'm undecided about many things in life. So, I kind of like it that way, if you want to know the truth.
I hear you, brother. I really do. I think going back to the Gonzales theory of coalescing, we'll get through the debate on the 10th. You look at the 6th Congressional District, there's these 20% that are undecided. Campaigning, people are going to start to pay more attention. The name recognition numbers hopefully will go down to where more people recognize who the candidates are. And I think the Gonzales coalescing theory is around the first week of October, second week of October.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
going to be a coalescing of people around certain candidates based on certain issues and interests.
Yeah.
Do I have that
And
right?
let's oh yeah, I think you're spot on, brother. Let me tell you, let's not forget the millions and millions of dollars that are going to flow into the 6th district from both sides over the next 2 months. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go park myself in the middle of the district, and just dollar bills that are falling out of people's pockets, I'm going to go pick up. I'm going to be a wealthy man by the time this election is over.
Boy, advertising is going to be a great business here in the next 2 months. I
Oh,
don't know what it is,
oh
what,
my Lord.
65 days or something. Oh my goodness.
It's going to be kind of interesting to see how the national parties kind of. I mean, I haven't followed it that closely. I don't know that much about that kind of insider aspect. Quite frankly, it doesn't interest me terribly much. It's not my strength, but I am going to start paying a little more attention to see if both the Dems and the Republicans on the national committee's part level kind of start. You see signs that they're starting to focus a little more energy on the 6th. Because I'm telling you, guys, could there be a district out there more competitive than Maryland 6? I guess there could, but it could as competitive. Could there be one that's more competitive? In my opinion, no way.
I'm
So
going to
we'll
tell you,
see.
based on reading your polling from this week, I think the two grooviest races for me to watch. One is Hogan also Brooks. I think that's a
Right?
live ball. That's going to be interesting to see. And this 6th
Big time.
congressional race, I'm going to have an eyeball on that on election night. That's
Yeah.
really going to be interesting, and lessons will be learned on how
No,
those
dude,
campaigns are run.
I think you're right. I am so psyched. I mean, again, you know how I go flashing back to the 60s, and, this convention in Chicago flashed me back to the
Yeah,
days of me
baby.
and Abby back in the Windy City. I mean, you and I, for the next 8 weeks, it's going to be like we're smoking a doober and we're just strumming to the music. And there's just everybody up on the stage is having fun. And we're going to, dude, you are right. This Senate race in Maryland in this corner, Angela also Brooks, and in this
Right.
corner, Larry Hogan, two heavyweights. And we're going to have on the undercard, we're going to have Neil Parrott taking on April Delaney. Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh,
Uh,
that's great. Yeah, that night, election night, just like the 60s, man. I'm gonna put on my Donovan records and turn the sound on
yeah.
the TV down, just
They
watch the
call me
graphics.
Mellow Yellow. Doo, doo,
Like,
doo.
try
They call me
sex.
Mellow
Yeah, yeah.
Yellow. Boop, boop,
That's
boop.
awesome. Well, this is the last part of the poll this week. We went through the first two parts the last 2 days. This one today. Do you see any common themes or trends coming out of what you've seen so far that people
Well,
would like to
what
take
pops
note of?
right in my head I'm thinking about the three elections, the presidential number we did, the Senate race and this race. Dude, it's just that sharp part. 75% to 85% of Dem is voting for the Dem. 75 to 85% of the Republicans are voting for the Republicans. In those districts where it matters, where are the independents? It doesn't matter statewide. Yes, it's important, for instance, for Hogan to win independence and get them to a certain point. But ultimately, it's so heavily Democratic that that's where he's got to go and kind of penetrate to have a chance at victory. In a district like the 6th, though, independents are going to play a critical role. So to watch that. But I think what my main takeaway is, it's a hard partisan divide. Yeah. No, I'm not going to cuss. I mean, obviously it's a sharp, but it's being,
Right,
but
right.
this is a family show, Clay.
This is
And
a
I
family
refuse
show.
to say, I refuse to use scatological language.
Scatological.
Yeah, that was a tough one to say. But anyway,
Scatological.
suffer and succotash. So, but these numbers confirm just how sharp a divide and division there is in this country. So that's my main takeaway. And that's all I got to say.
Well, I know you've had a long, hard, long week. You've got to be
Oh,
tired, my
Lordy.
brother. And
Oh,
all I
I
can do
am
is say
tired.
peace and love, peace and love. It's time
Oh,
to say
baby.
goodbye, Patrick.
Goodbye, Patrick. Arrivederci, baby. And to all our people out there, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.